Hello. So, you might be looking for a place to either ask questions with AutoHotkeys or maybe even share a script that you've worked really hard on and you think could be useful for some people. So, the AutoHotkeys forum at Reddit Q&A is a great place to come. It has a great community, people that are really, adamant about helping you with your script, any problems you run into, and lead you along the path of learning AutoHotkeys. But there are a few things you should definitely know when posting here. A good point of view here is that even though we might be pretty good and knowledgeable at AutoHotkeys, we maybe have never used that program that you're trying to get help with. So breaking down the steps of what exactly you need is always a great start. Step one, I need AutoHotkeys to send Control A. Step two, I need it to then activate another window. This helps us to understand, so always bear with us because we might not exactly know every step that you need unless you're really breaking it down to a very raw point for us. Another great thing to do, don't ever demand somebody write a script for you. You're going to get almost zero help. And if you do get help, a lot of times the people are just going to post to the AutoHotkey tutorials and say, you should probably just read this documentation. So you should always try to give it the good old college try first and try to learn it yourself. See if you can do it. Even if you aren't very experienced in programming, try to give it a shot. You can usually find an answer somewhere on the internet, whether it's here already on Reddit or the AutoHotkey forums, or there are also a few good YouTube channels out there with a lot of great tutorials to help you. The other thing you want to do, always post your script that you've tried. Explain where the problem seems to be happening. Maybe it's line 4, maybe line 5. That helps us to kind of know where to start to help you. Now, if your script ends up being super long, you might not want to post it on Reddit. I'm talking like hundreds of lines of code. So a great website you can use, which I'll obviously put into the description below, is Pastebin. There's a bunch of other websites out there just like that. I believe there's actually an AutoHotkey one, but I can't remember which one, what the URL is for that. But this is a great place where you can post a ton of code and then share this link in your post. So definitely try to use something like this. If you're going, I would say usually about 50 lines or more, this is a great thing to use for large posts like that. The next thing you also want to do is how you're going to post your code. So we'll go ahead and do an example here. So you're going to go in, your title can really kind of be anything. It can be something very basic on, just kind of a title for what you need. You can start even explaining here if you want, but just a kind of a broad term for your title is helpful. So we can put, just for this one, I'm just going to put AutoHotkey test post. In your text, I'm going to start out with step 1, I need it to do this. And then we can just kind of go ahead and go, step 3, step 4. Or step 2, step 3. You can also then put in a little bit of an explanation. A great thing to do is say, hey, I need some help. Here is what I've tried, but sadly, I feel like I'm missing something. This really shows them that you're at least trying and you're just lost. This is kind of where I'm coming now for you guys. So now we want to post some code. If you were to post your code just like this, so here's my sample code, and push post, it's going to look, it's going to look weird because your code kind of just matches up with your text. We want your code to be its own like entity within your post. So the way to do that is in a editor, and it doesn't have to necessarily be Notepad++. You're just going to highlight everything, and you're going to tab every line over just with a single tab. So now we're going to copy that in there. Let's get rid of this. So this can be a little tricky to remember at first, but Once you've done all that where you've tabbed it, you want one line break, post your code, and then one more line break. So it looks like that. Another way you can do this too, if you don't have an editor and you don't want to do tab, you can just use 4 spaces right here and it'll do the exact same thing as long as you got that line break up here and down here. So let's go ahead and post this so you can see what it's going to look like. So give it a second to load there. And as you see, it's now in a code block. This really helps to separate your code. Now, by default, it does add some spaces in there. So what I usually do is I go back to edit post and I just go ahead and delete those so my post isn't super long. And then now I'm going to save. And see how much better that looks? And of course, the last thing you want to do is once you find your solution, or even while someone's helping you, always be sure to thank them. Even if it doesn't give the answer you want, just thank them for trying. It goes a long way. They'll see your post later on for another question you might have. They're more willing to help you. If you have any other further questions, definitely go to the main page, and under the Hot tab, you'll see that there is pinned right here. Read this before posting. It has a lot of great information on it. It has a lot of stuff what I just explained in the video on how to ask for help, formatting your code like I just went over. And then also has a lot of useful links that might lead you in the right direction. A lot of code questions get asked over and over again, and there's actually a section in here where, here we go. People ask this question all the time, how to create a toggle. There's already an answer right here. So definitely check this out before you post. Your answer, there's a good chance that something here will help you along the way. All right, guys, have a great day.